What's going on, family? It's the coolest cannapreneur in the world, Vincent Owens, and today I want to take the time out to talk about a burning desire, something that has been on my heart to kind of make a video about for quite some time. And I want to take the time out today to talk about the Cash Flow Quadrant. Now, the Cash Flow Quadrant was created by Robert Kiyosaki. A lot of you guys probably heard of him, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So there's a whole series of these books, and the Cash Flow Quadrant pretty much talks about why people would rather work in a safe, secure job, right? And stay on the left side of money instead of having enough faith in themselves and their abilities to shift to the right side and becoming a business owner and an investor. Now, the reason why this topic has been on my heart for quite some time is because so many people contact me, both Instagram, Facebook. I mean, I get text messages, emails all the time acquiring, hey, how can I get in the cannabis industry, cannapreneur? How did you shift from working at Sprint, being a manager, to successfully running a successful cannabis business, starting to do your own events, right? How did you make that shift from the left side to the right side of the quadrant? And so today I want to talk about how I did that and the information that completely changed my life. So what I would do is, if I were you, I would go and grab a piece of paper and a notebook right now. Make sure you take these notes, because remember, note takers are money makers. You can't, a prisoner cannot escape a prison if he doesn't first know what? That he's in prison. So you can't escape your current situation if you don't know what situation you are in. So after this video today, you'll be able to know the 4 different levels of the quadrant. You'll be able to know how you can go from the left side to the right side of money, and that way you can make the best decision in your life. So the cash flow quadrant is split into 4 different quadrants. You have a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere for money, right? The left side and the right side. A lot of us investors, business owners, we like to make a joke, so we call it the left out side of money, right? And the righteous side, all right? So on the left side of money, the top quadrant is the largest quadrant. And so that one is signified as an E. What the E stands for is employees. That is a person who works a job, whether it's a 9 to 5. That's someone who exchanges their time for money. That's someone who actually works for someone else, and that's the only thing they do. Now, I want to give you some sad stats about the people who stay on the E side of money, okay? First off, 60% of Americans are in the E quadrant. 60% of Americans are in the employee quadrant, okay? So it is a known fact that, number one, what's the average retirement age now? I believe that the average retirement age, the last time I checked, was anywhere between 65 to around 71. So who in here watching this video right now would actually like to spend the next 65 to 71 years, working at a job? I don't think there's anybody that wants that, especially the millennials and the post-millennials that are coming up today. We are self-starters, right? We are people who want to create generational wealth for our family and people around us, right? So in order for us to get out of this quadrant, we have to first know what? That we're in the prison, okay? So the first thing is 71, I'm just gonna say 71 years old is the average age for an American to be able to retire. Now, when that person retires, that person is a part of what we call the 40-40-40 club. All right, the 40-40-40 club. What is the 40-40-40 club? The 40-40-40 club is pretty much where you work 40 hours per week or more, right, for 40 years of your life. And then when it's time for you to retire on a pension or some other, thing that the government gives to us, right, our 401k or whatever that is, right, then we retire on 40% of what wasn't enough in the first place. 40%, okay, of what wasn't enough. So how can our parents, how can we retire today from a job, right? How can we do these things? And then guess what? Now we only have 40% of what wasn't enough. That means what? We have to go back and actually work a job. So the next step that I would like to talk about is another sad stat, okay? The next sad stat is that 75% of Americans do not have $1,000 to their name. That means that they do not have $1,000 in the savings account, in their bank account, period. That means that these people have to continuously go back and work at a job because they don't have $1,000 saved up to their bank accounts, right? And then the last stat, which is the saddest stat, is that out of 100 people who work only a job, now if you only have a job, now I mean, you can be in different parts of the quadrant, and we'll talk about that. You can be in different parts of the quadrant. You can work a job and then be on the right side of money as well, right? But out of 100 people, okay, only 1%, which means one person, only 1% out of 100 people will actually, that only work a job, will actually retire rich and wealthy. That means that 99% of people will actually go to the grave broke, right? Poor, right? Because they're getting rid of middle class. Middle class is out the door. It's only going to be in the future. You're either going to be broke, right? Or you're going to be rich. Broke or rich. Which one are you going to end your life at? After this video, hopefully you'll make the right conscious decision. Okay? So, some people, they want to get out of the employee quadrant, and what do? They say, I'm a boss up. I'm gonna come like Rick Ross, right? They put their Rick Ross grunt on. They go, huh, right? They make their Rick Ross grunt. And for that person, they are now in the S quadrant. That is the self-employed or the specialist quadrant. 35% of people are in the self-employed or specialist quadrant. Now, yes, congrats to you. A lot of people actually make this shift into that quadrant, right? They go straight directly down. But what's the problem here? They don't have a self-sufficient business, right? They don't have something where if they leave and go to Dubai for a month and they come back, their business won't be the same, right? Their business won't operate without them actually being there. So that means that these people still have to do what? I'm gonna write this one in blue. These people have to, on this side, they have to still exchange their time for money. Their time for money. All right? So, for people who are self-employed, a lot of those people, you would consider that, you know, your doctor, right? Your lawyer, right? Your Uber driver. I mean, that can even be an actress, an athlete, okay? So these people, if they don't show up, that doctor doesn't show up and deliver that baby, he don't get paid, right? If OJ's lawyer didn't show up and, you know, help him beat that case, that lawyer didn't get paid, right? If that Uber driver doesn't come to the bar, pick me up, and drop me off at home, he doesn't get paid. So remember, that person still has to be there physically in order for that business to still bring in a successful cash flow. Now, there's nothing wrong with being self-employed. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. Absolutely nothing wrong. But just having one of those, just being employee, just being self-employed, there is a problem with that. Because why? Because we have bills, right? We have all these bills that come every single month over and over and over again, right? Those are called residual bills. I'm sure that if you think about your bills right now, I mean, we have all types of bills, right? And I just thinking about my bills, I have around 20 bills. So a millionaire did a successful formula for me that my high school, my middle school, my college math teacher, algebra teacher didn't do. They weren't smart enough to do this. All right. The formula is this. And when I saw this, it changed my life. He said, how many bills do you have, Vincent? I said, a lot, probably around 20. Then we played a game called the bill game. All right, we did 20 bills. Then what he said, you times that by how many different ways do you make money currently? Where are you working? Oh, I'm working at Sprint. I'm a manager. Cool. Do you have any other money coming in? At the moment? No, not at the moment, but I'm looking for other opportunities. Perfect. Well, guess what? Right now, you only have one stream of income, which is a job. Job simply stands for just over broke, if you've never heard of that before, right? So 20 bills times one job equals broke. 20 bills times one job equals broke. So if we have 20 bills, we need a couple of opportunities, not more than one job, because 2 jobs is for 2 people. 3 jobs is for 3 people. Now, I don't mean any offense to that. I'm not downing jobs at all. But what I'm saying is there's other opportunities, and me and my team, we are up on other opportunities outside of just working your typical 9 to 5 job. Okay? Now, on the left side of money, I'm going to write this up here. There's 95%. You can do the math. 60% plus 35%. There's 95% of people on this side of money, but guess what? They only control 5% of all the cash flow. How crazy is that? That 95% of people, you tell me that on the left side of money, you have the most people that's here. And the thing is, these people get taxed the most, right? They get taxed the most because they have taxable income, right? They get paid the least, right? And they have the least amount of time to truly enjoy the money that they're making in the first place. Wow. Now, on the right side of money, this is the side that every single person should actually be trying to strive to get to at some point in their life. Not saying to leave your job, but you can work a job and be on the right side of money, and I'll show you how. And we'll talk about a couple of examples, okay? So the first quadrant over here is known as the B. That is the business owner quadrant, all right? For business owners, there's 4% of the entire country are business owners. 4%. Your business owners are people who own large corporations like C Corp, S corporations, right? LLCs, right? These businesses are businesses where if this person leaves out the country and they want to take a vacation, they have a system in place, right? They have a system in place that allows for people to be able to run the business while they're not there. That means that their business can still grow, it can still scale without them having to physically be there, all right? 4% are able to do that, all right? That is your Walmart, right? That is the owner of a franchise like Taco Bell, KFC, McDonald's, right? You can't go anywhere around the country, really around the world now, without seeing these different franchise opportunities, okay? And then the third type of business that you can get into outside of a franchise or building your own system would be network marketing. Now, a lot of people like to say that network marketing is a terrible idea. Robert Kiyosaki clearly says in this book that network marketing is the business of the 21st century. Think about it. What century are we in? We're in the 21st century. So if Robert Kiyosaki, who created the Cash Flow Quadrant, who understood this, right, who's wrote so many successful books, who's created so many successful mentorship programs and academies for people to go through to learn this information, if he said that network marketing is the business of the 21st century, why wouldn't you listen to him? That comes back to what my mentor, David E. Monetier, says. He says that he asked the question of, who do you listen to? Who are you listening to on a day-to-day? Who's controlling your life? Who's controlling your mindset, right? Who's pouring into you on a day-to-day? If people on the 95%, if all you listen to is people on this side of the quadrant, that's why you'll stay on this side of the quadrant, because you are who you listen to. You are what you think about, right? You are who you're influenced by, right? The music, the shows we watch, we are who we're influenced by. So we have to figure out how to change our environments and become a new product of our new environment, okay? Now, the next quadrant, which is only 1% of the world, is the I, the investor quadrant. This is the quadrant that I decided that I wanted to get into, even though I was self-employed in California. I said, hey, I'm self-employed right now. I was reading this book. I heard this information for a couple of millionaires. My mentor said, who do you listen to? I stopped listening to the 95% of people, right? Stop worrying about what people think of me, right? Worrying about what people would judge me, right? Because it doesn't matter what people think. It's about what you think, because that's what ultimately dictates your life here in your future, right? Your life. So the investor quadrant is the 1 percentile of the world. Everybody can become a successful investor. Every single person can become a successful investor. But the problem that people have is in the investor quadrant, in the business quadrant, guess what? There's one word: risk. Risk. People are not willing to risk the money that they work hard for. And if you just leave your money in a bank account and you allow for the banks to leverage your money through markets like the foreign exchange market, right? Or the cryptocurrency market, right? Or the stock exchange market, right? If you allow for banks to do that and you don't take advantage, shame on you. Shame on you, right? So in the investor quadrant, there's so many different ways to invest. You can get into real estate. You can get into stock and bonds. You can get into investing into someone's business, right? You can get into the foreign exchange cryptocurrency market, right? The reason why people don't believe in investments is because they have a job mentality. They have a worker mentality. They have a 95 percentile mentality. That's the mentality that I once had, and I can understand it. But after I learned how to shift my paradigm, right, shift my negative habits into positive habits, right, and that, what happened was I stopped thinking that everything was a what? A scam. A scam. Scam stands for still confused about money. That's why people are still on this side of the quadrant, because they're still confused about money. They don't understand how money works. They don't understand cash flow. Until you understand cash flow, cash will never flow for you. You'll forever be working for your money. Okay? So, I want to share some other information with you, all right? I got this from Bob Proctor. I'm going to put it right down here. All right, Bob Proctor, one of the most successful men that has ever walked the face of the planet. And the reason why is because he had mentors. He had amazing mentorship from Earl Nightingales and all these different people who he has had mentor him over the years, right? And so what Bob Proctor talked about is there's 3 different levels of ways that people make money. The first level is known as M1. The second level is known as M2. And the third level is known as M3. This pretty much sums up the cash flow quadrant. If you can't grasp this, maybe you'll be able to grasp this. All right? So M1 is the worst way to make money, but it's the way that what? 95% of people in the world create their income. It's by exchanging your time for what? For money. Exchanging your time for money. M2 is exchanging your money for money. Exchanging your money for money. So that's your investor, right? Exchanging your money for money. And M3, only 1% of people in the whole world do this, okay? Only 1% of people in the whole world do this, all right? Because they find the hidden secret in life. They find the hidden secret. See, there's a secret to success. There's a secret. And until you search and you find it, see, I found the secret. I found the secret. It's the strangest secret in the world. Earl Nightingale said that, right? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. As long as you're working toward a predetermined goal, right? Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, as long as you're working toward that, doesn't matter about how much money you make, as long as you enjoy that, you are now a success. That's the strangest secret in the world. Yet, not many people know it. So M3, in order to go from M1, M2, and then go to M3, you need MSI. You got to catch MSI. Now MSI, no, that's not a disease. That ain't nothing bad, right? That's something that you really want. The 1% of the world, they catch MSI. MSI stands for multiple streams of income. Having money come from over here and money come over here, that residual income, right? That money to match your bills, right? You got 20 bills, you need 20 different streams of income. You need a bill for each. You need a stream of income from every bill. That's my goal, right? So hopefully you got some value from this actual video. If you did, please like it, share it with your friends. Make sure you send it out to people that you think may actually be able to use this information, that's trapped on the left side of money and they're looking for a way to get out of the rat race and make it to the right side of money. And if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comments below, because remember, the bottom's getting way too crowded and there's enough room at the top for everybody. I love you guys. See you soon. I'll see you at the beaches and the banks of the world. It's the coolest canopreneur in the world.